Senator from Washington.
Mr. President, I have 12 unanimous consent requests for committees to meet during today's session of the Senate. They have the approval of the majority and minority leaders. I ask unanimous consent these requests be agreed to and be printed in the record.
Without objection.
Mr. President, I come to the floor today. I wanted to thank the bipartisan leadership that has brought us to the place today where we are considering reauthorizing this important child care and development block grant bill. In my home state of Washington, there's a young woman named Janelle. She's a single mom. She lives in southeast Seattle, and she was looking for opportunities to support her family. But before she could go back to school or participate in a job training program so she could advance her career, she had to find affordable childcare for 2 of her children. Thankfully, with the assistance of this Child Care and Development Block Grant Program, she was able to get some subsidies to help cover the cost, and she now works. She works part-time, and she's attending school and becoming a surgical tech. This federal grant program expands opportunities to parents like Janelle and so many families across our country by helping them with the cost of childcare. And that's why I'm here today to support this effort to reauthorize the Child Care and Development Block Grant Program. Mr. President, we all know the cost of child care has soared in recent decades. The Census Bureau found that child care costs have nearly doubled since the mid-1980s, and that high cost hits low-income families especially hard. For working families who live below the poverty line, the cost of child care can eat up more than 30% of their monthly income. For single parents, if you only have one income, it is an even bigger burden. So when low-income parents don't have access to reliable and affordable child care, they can't work. They can't go back to school. They can't advance their skills with job training. They are stuck. And that, as we know, is particularly problematic for women. Women are more likely than men to cut back their hours at work or quit their jobs altogether so they can take care of their children. In the long run, that puts women on an uneven playing field with their male counterparts, both in terms of earnings and opportunities to advance in the workplace. So we have got to break down those barriers. We need to make sure that working doesn't become cost prohibitive for parents. And we've got to strengthen access for low-income families so they can get affordable, quality child care. This bipartisan Child Care and Development Block Grant Act is part of the solution. These grants expand opportunities for parents with low income. It allows them to work or go to school or get job training, all with the peace of mind that their kids are taken care of in a safe child care setting. You know, back in 1990, President George H.W. Bush signed this grant program, as we know it, into law. And today it helps 1.6 million kids get child care. To participate, a parent has to have a job or be enrolled in school or a job training program. That has helped countless parents across our country. And I want to mention just a woman who's contacted us. She's a single mom. Her name is Star. She lives in Skagit County, a rural part of my state. She wants to advance her skills to support her family, like so many people do today. And with this assistance, she was able to go to community college, which is an hour away from her home, knowing that her kids were okay in a reliable child care program. There is nothing more important to a parent than the safety and well-being of their child. I have said many times, you do a better job at work if you know your kids are safe. If you're worried about whether your kids are doing okay, you can't do a good job where you work. So reauthorizing this program is a critical part of this and helps parents like Star feel comfortable when they are away from their kids. So, Mr. President, in this reauthorization bill, we're looking at ways to improve these grants, and we know that stability is critically important for a young child's development. But before kids could lose their spot in child care if their parents didn't meet the eligibility requirements, even temporarily, that disruption in care is exactly what we needed to work to avoid. I've seen this a lot on my work on behalf of foster kids and military students and homeless children. These are highly mobile populations. Now, with this legislation and the work that's been done, we've ensured that these kids have a mandatory 12 months to access of care, so they don't have that disruption of stability in their lives. And I think that's critically important. This bill also reduces barriers for homeless families to access child care and will train more child care providers in identifying and serving homeless kids and families so they can get their support they need. And I really appreciate the inclusion of those provisions. So for many families, it can be very difficult, Mr. President, as we know, to find quality child care. This legislation authorizes a toll-free hotline and a website so parents can get and find good quality care in their own community. And those provisions are why I'm such a strong supporter and so delighted we're at the point here where we're able to pass this critical piece of legislation. Let me just end by saying, back in Washington State, there's this young couple, their names are Edward and Constance. They are struggling to make ends meet on a very low income. They are working, they're studying to make sure that times won't always be as tough as they are today. And because of child care assistance with this grant money, Edward now works full-time, and Constance isn't working at her part-time job. She is training to become a dental assistant. So, Mr. President, supporting parents like that, giving them these opportunities, making sure their kids are in a safe, quality child care program is what the grants are about in this program, and I really urge our colleagues to support this legislation. And again, thank the senators who have participated in making this a strong bipartisan proposal. With that, I yield the floor.